I refused to co-sign my sister's new car loan after she told the dealership I'd always come through eventually. So I find out about this when the finance manager calls me directly, not my sister, the dealership. The guy introduces himself and says he has me listed as a co-signer on a loan application and just needs to verify a few things. I told him that wasn't possible because I hadn't agreed to anything. He got very quiet and said, well, your sister indicated you'd already discussed it. I told him we hadn't. He apologized, said he'd need to put the application on hold, and hung up. I sat there for a second just staring at my phone. Then I called Danny. She picked up on the second ring, which meant she was waiting. Hey, so I'm guessing the dealership called you? I said yes. She immediately launched into this whole explanation before I could even say anything. The car she'd been driving was done, like genuinely undrivable, and she'd found this really good deal, and she'd tried to get approved on her own, but her credit score was still recovering from when she and her ex split up and their joint card went to collections. And she knew I'd been meaning to help her out more, and she just figured I'd say yes anyway. So she wanted to get the process moving. I said, Danny, you told them I'd already agreed. She said, I told them you'd come through eventually. That's not the same thing. I genuinely didn't know what to say to that. Like, I had to actually stop and think about whether she believed what she was saying. The thing is, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. When she was apartment hunting 2 years ago, she listed me as a reference without asking and told the landlord we were extremely close and I'd vouch for her completely. I found out when the landlord called to confirm. Before that, she'd put me down as a backup emergency contact at her job and listed my relationship to her as guarantor, which is not a thing that exists at jobs, but apparently she made it work. Every single time I've said something, she gets this wounded look and says she just trusts me more than anyone, and she didn't think I'd mind, and somehow I've always let it drop. So I stayed pretty calm on the phone and said I wasn't going to co-sign. She said, you haven't even heard the terms. I said it didn't matter what the terms were. She said, so you're just going to let me have no car? I have to get to work. I told her I understood that, and I was sorry her situation was hard, but putting my name on a loan without asking me wasn't something I was going to reward by just going along with it after the fact. She said, reward? I'm your sister. I wasn't trying to trick you. I said, then what would you call telling a lender I'd agreed when you hadn't asked me? She didn't really have an answer for that. She said she thought I'd be easier to convince once it was already in motion. I said that was actually worse, not better. She said I was being legalistic about something that was supposed to be a family favor. I said family favors start with asking. She hung up. My mom called that night. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was pretty measured, honestly. Just said Danny was really stressed and couldn't I just think about it. She didn't say Danny was right, which I noticed. I texted back that I had thought about it and the answer was still no. Danny texted me the next morning. Said the deal was going to fall through if I didn't call the dealership by noon. I didn't call. Around 1 p.m. she sent another one. I hope you know you had a choice here and you chose this. I typed back, yeah, I did. She's been posting a lot of public transit complaints since then.